Alright, TwitchCon 2025 is finally over, thank God, because this was nothing short of a disaster. I've been covering TwitchCon on this channel extensively for almost a month now, talking about potential security concerns we could see at TwitchCon, things that have happened at last TwitchCons, and how we expect the higher-ups to respond. And it is safe to say that they did not deliver, as we have seen some of the worst incidents come out of this TwitchCon. So let's talk about them. Welcome to everything that went wrong at TwitchCon that I'm aware of. We're gonna start off with a story that went a little bit under the radar, as it happened close to the same time as the massive incident with Emiru. A massive VTuber on Twitch, Chibi Doki, with over 720,000 followers on the platform, wasn't being allowed into her own meet and greet as they couldn't ID her because she was wearing a mask. Mind you, she did have her actual ID on her, but in order for them to verify who she was, they basically forced her to face reveal, as they required her to unmask herself in front of a line of fans. Now, there are several issues with this, the glaring one being, if somebody is a VTuber, they are very likely a faceless creator. People typically become VTubers for privacy and safety reasons. Either they don't want to be recognized, or they don't want to be constantly associated with their character. Requiring her to unmask in front of her fans ignores this notion and shows a complete disregard for your VTuber creators. Now, Chibi was very understanding of this, as this occurred after the Emiru situation where they kind of tried to hastily improve security, but giving your creators a band that doesn't work and then forcing them to go to the permission desk to get into their own meet and greet isn't increasing security. Speaking of those wristbands, there was also a clip that went viral of somebody walking into the meet and greet area with a band that clearly wasn't working as intended. Now, to be fair, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on in this clip because there were also +1s allowed in the meet and greet, so it's possible that this guy would have been allowed in anyway, but based on what we already talked about with Chibi Doki, the bracelet system wasn't working properly. And mind you, this was not a one-time occurrence. Another faceless creator on Twitch named Aruna Reva had this to say on Twitter. Walked through the detector at TwitchCon and everything was fine, and the staff decided to stop me and make me take my beanie and face mask off in front of everyone, forcing me to show my face, being given no hint of privacy. As a partnered creator who doesn't show her entire face, it was terrifying and so uncomfortable to be forced to do that in front of everyone. Would have been okay going to the side with less people to do it. Another faceless creator named Night Rose, also a VTuber, was told by a security guard that you need to unmask now or I'm not fucking letting you in, after they requested to unmask privately. So there was a lot of issues with VTuber identification, but that wasn't the only issues that the VTuber had, as going back to Chibi Doki, not only was she forced to unmask in public, but she was then also required to end her meet and greet early. I don't know what was happening with the organization of the event. Apparently they told creators that if they wanted to meet everybody in line for a meet and greet but there wasn't enough time, that they would be moved to a separate area. But this was obviously a lie, and when they told all the people left waiting in line that they were ending the meet and greet, they said that they were doing so because Chibi requested to end it as she was feeling sick. Chibi then comes onto Twitter and says, "I never even told any staff I'm sick. I'm so confused. I showed up and asked if I could wait for nags before going out, and that's the only time staff talked to me in the meet and greet area before telling us to cut the line short. I'm so sorry if this is true." We had another unfortunate and scary incident within the VTuber space at TwitchCon this year, where a VTuber named Ricky has also allegedly been assaulted at this TwitchCon. Ricky also happened to be one of the VTubers who at last TwitchCon got their drink tampered with at the VTuber after party, which is something that I very briefly talked about some weeks ago. Now, from what I can tell, this didn't happen at the main event, but rather at an invite-only after party. This obviously brings in factors like alcohol being involved, and as the people would have already been in close proximity, it would have been a little bit harder for security to intervene to prevent anything. Ricky did state that the security did remove the person swiftly, and the security and event hosts were incredible to him, which is good. It's still just the matter of how did this person get into this event in the first place. We still don't know who this person was, if it was a fellow fellow creator, it might start to make a little bit more sense, but only time will tell if this is actually a fault on Twitch or not. But moving out of the VTuber side of things now, let's talk about the Neon situation. Now, kick streamers already have quite the reputation for starting trouble at TwitchCon, especially last year. And you had your odd clip every now and then of a kick streamer streaming at TwitchCon and things just being a little bit awkward, but none as big as this Neon situation. Now, not gonna lie, this whole thing is kind of odd and like super overblown, but I'm gonna talk about it briefly anyway. Basically, Neon goes up to this lady who's another streamer named Emiru, and the interaction starts off fine until Neon invites her to his after party. When she asks why she's invited, Neon says, "Oh, it's because you're very beautiful," and she replies with, "I love being objectified." Now, the situation probably could have just been left there, like Neon was being a bit creepy, she didn't want to go to the party, that all makes sense. But then Neon went on at the end of the clip to yell this,
"It's always a fat friend, bro!"
which was very uncalled for, but you should know if you're gonna let Neon in the convention, something like this is literally bound to happen. Emiru then took it upon herself to quote tweet the interaction saying, "Chat, get his ass," which again was pretty uncalled for and then led to her getting much more backlash from Neon's much larger fan base. The situation was like, I don't know, Neon was clearly being creepy and looking for OnlyFans girls to come to his party, which probably shouldn't be going on at TwitchCon. But then Emiru attempting to weaponize her fan base to try and harass him was also not the most sensible idea. But I believe the harassment from Neon's fans got so bad that Em just ended up leaving the convention and not coming back. So the moral of this story is, can we just stop letting the kick streamers at TwitchCon? Let them have KickCon or something like that, where they can call each other slurs and you can have a slot machine around every corner so they can, I don't know, do what kick streamers do. So yeah, somehow even though security was highlighted as a concern, it seemed like we had a higher volume of issues this TwitchCon than in any other TwitchCon previously. There should still be some sort of after party tonight, I assume, but I'm gonna upload this video as is, as this being all of the other incidents that I could find, because there's actually no way Twitch allows another issue to occur at another after party. I really hope they don't prove me wrong on that. But with all of these issues, people have been calling for the CEO of Twitch, Dan Clancy, to step down, which I find hilarious because at an event where his objective as the CEO is to have as little security complaints and injuries as possible after last year, a clip literally goes viral of him picking up and dropping a female creator on stage.
Alright guys, I am not a trained professional. Don't try this at home.
You can't make this up. There actually has to be more context to this that I'm missing. Firstly, why is Dan on stage? Secondly, why is he picking up this lady? Like, what's actually going on here? My rant about Dan Clancy is a whole video in and of itself, but is this guy not like a clout chaser? Zach Bussey actually said it today on Twitter. Unfortunately, Dan Clancy is stuck in the longest running
"How do you do, fellow kids?"
skit of his life. It's nice how involved he wants to be for his own benefit.
"These are my friends,"
he says, ignoring the reality that he is the CEO and these are not his friends. It will be a harsh reality he will face when he is no longer CEO. Dan should be in the command center putting together a new team of security, yet he's on stage dropping his creators on their head. I don't know. I'm gonna end this off on some positivity though, because there's been lots of negativity swirling around. Emiru did go on to finish her show after her incident, and look at the crowd response.
And make some noise for Emmy right fucking now. Let's go. Louder! Standing ovation. Get up.
Stop, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry.
There are still good people in the community, and it is always important to remember that too. But that is enough from me. This should be one of the last times we really talk about TwitchCon this year. I am interested to see the managerial changes that Twitch does or doesn't make after these events though, which is something I'll definitely be talking about. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. We basically post here every day, so I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Peace.